Hey, happy Monday, happy Monday. Come on in to the live, step in to my office because I've got some things that I want to discuss. I have some things that I want to share with you. If you are live and you can hear me, would you drop a one in the comments? Let me know that I can be heard. And let's just fire up all of the other platforms so that I can stream across the interwebs. All right, guys, let me know if you can hear me, if you are on live. If not, I will check quickly myself, but I hate when you hear like the echo. So let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. I have a cup of Red Bush. That's the order of the day. Let me know if you have your beverage. How your day has gone, how your weekend has gone. Mine was very busy, very full on. And the day seems to be going in the same direction. But I wanted to, I've said I'm committing to going live each day, but I just needed to step away from my desk and have some time out. So, yeah, let me just check and see what's happening with the tech. All right, I can see that I am live on Instagram. Hopefully I'm live on LinkedIn. Hey Marlene, you can hear me. Amazing. And I can see that you are coming in from LinkedIn. All right, guys, happy Monday. I hope and pray that you had an awesome weekend. I did. I want to share with you some strategies or some reframes when it comes to positioning yourself as an authority online. If you joined me last week, right? You were rocking with me last week. I want to say thank you for coming back. If it's your first time here, then you can catch the replays. I've created like a playlist over on YouTube. So all of them will sit, all 9 will sit in that playlist. So you can head over there and watch the 4 so far. And this 5th one will be added there. But also you could watch it on LinkedIn. So if you go to the events tab under my profile, you'll see all of the previous lives that we have done. So this one is all around your authority. And I'm going to be checking the chat periodically. So as I'm speaking, right, drop your thoughts in the comments. Drop any questions you have in the comments. I'll hoover up the questions at the end. Right. But before we get into today's anchor, I just want to say this, right? If visibility has felt shaky, if it has felt hard on LinkedIn, especially, this might be the season for you to lean into that, to get like deeper support around that. So stick with me till the end and I'll share what that looks like. If you are building a more if you're building in a season that is potentially new to you, right? You're entering into something new. Maybe you're launching something. Maybe you are transitioning into something new and you need to be guided. You need support. I want to share with you. But let's get into the anchor for today. So we are going to be talking about authority. And I'll be honest with you, it is something that most of us underestimate, right? Especially the women, right? My kinswomen. We underestimate our authority. And there's a lot of women that I work with who, if anything, are absolutely amazing and incredible, but that incredibleness doesn't speak online. It doesn't speak for them, right? So if what I'm going to share maybe starts to feel like it's landing a bit too close to home or I'm speaking to you, then you probably do need to be in the room and you do need to hear what I'm going to say, right? Because a lot of you are not scared of being visible, right? What you're scared of is stepping into a new entrepreneurial authority, let's say, right? And not because you do not have authority. Let's just make that clear. It's not that you don't have authority, but because the whole entrepreneurial space is new territory, it's new ground, it's unfamiliar. You haven't had to market yourself previously, you haven't had to get visible previously. So the landscape feels very uncertain, shaky, sometimes scary, even, right? If I can say that. So you have spent years, decades, right, being brilliant in other spaces, in other environments, whether that's corporate, education, in community roles, maybe like in your faith communities, in your local communities, in family, right? We play a lot of roles and wear a lot of different hats. And chances are you are the dependable one. You're the go to person, the woman who people come back to time and time again for solutions. But now that you're building a business, right, with an online presence, online, which we didn't grow up with. This is like potentially new territory. Maybe you haven't even leveraged the online for socials, for just like your fun and giggles. You may not even utilize it in that regard. So it does feel very scary, very unfamiliar, right? And then what I find is that all of a sudden, all of the previous experience that you have now sits in a different folder. You filed it away somewhere else, put it on the top shelf, and forgotten about it. Your authority, like, belongs to your past life as well. It's not just what you're doing now. So your entrepreneurial identity is intrinsically linked to what you did previously, how you showed up previously, the wins that you got previously, right? And here's the part that I think most people tend to get wrong. Authority doesn't reset when you become an entrepreneur. It doesn't. You don't go like from 100 right back to zero. Your expertise. Hey, Yasmin, good to see you over on YouTube. Good to see you. Right, your expertise doesn't evaporate the moment you start your business. Right, your lived experience does not disappear because you haven't been in business for 10 years. You're not a beginner. You're simply like going from being unknown to being known. That's the difference. And that's where I think most people kind of get it wrong. They think, oh, I'm starting this business. That means I start from zero. And it doesn't. But I think the tension that I want to call out, the tension is because it's a new format, because it's a new landscape, you start to question your credibility. You start to think, oh, I haven't got enough results yet, or I haven't had enough clients. Or what if I say something wrong? Or what if I get called out? What if someone challenges me or questions me or asks me something that I don't know the answer to? Like, what if my old colleagues are watching, right? What if people expect more from me because I'm this business owner, entrepreneur that I can't give right now? And if any of this is resonating, like, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. I would love to see. I'm looking across all the devices. I'd love to see if any of this is resonating. And because of those mindsets, those limiting beliefs, what you do is you show up what I'm going to call softly, right? You repost other people's content. You're sharing quotes and inspiration, or being just the woman that you are. You're just encouraging everybody else. You're educating, but what you're not doing is directing people in terms of how they could work with you, how they can take the next step, whether that's signing up to a masterclass, if it's joining your email list, if it's filling out an application form to work with you. So you're being helpful, but you're not being directional, right? So you'll tell stories, share insights, but what you don't show is proof. And proof is directly linked to authority, right? And I'm not saying that what you're sharing isn't true. It's absolutely true, but it doesn't show the depth of who you are and the value that you bring. Right? So, sis, if your audience doesn't automatically know that you're an expert, they're not going to know automatically. They know what you show them. So if you don't, I always say this, you can't be the best kept secret. If you don't show that you're an expert, how will they know? How are they going to know? Right? So now a lot of women are showing their kindness, they're showing their helpfulness, they're showing their heart, which is a good thing. But what it doesn't show is your authority, right? There's no receipts. We're not seeing necessarily the transformations. We're not seeing the depth that you've built over the decades. Let me come back and see what is crack-a-lacking in the comments. Good afternoon, Yasmin. All caught up on the replays, ready for day 5. Amazing. Star pupil. Good to have you back on the Visibility Anchor series. IG is quiet. I'm not seeing anything over on LinkedIn, so I'm gonna continue. I am going to continue, right? So, as I've said, showing that you're helpful is great, but we're in business. We're here to impact our bottom line, to make a difference, not only financially, but in our communities with the people that we're wanting to serve. And we can't do that if we're not showing up in our full power, our full authority, right? So, as I said, you're not showing receipts, you're not showing transformations. What you've built over the decades, nobody knows, right? And it's not because you're hiding it, it's not because you're being secretive, but because in your mind, as I've said, you're worried about what does this open up? Now that I'm visible, what does this desire, what does this require of me? What more do I need to do? Sometimes it's easier to sit in the back rather than to raise your hand and to verbally vocalize who you are and what you do, because that then opens the door to more. And we say we want more, but really, do we want more? Because sometimes the way that I see us showing up doesn't necessarily suggest that we want that more, right? It's a case of bringing your authority from the offline space, from your job, from your community, from your family, right, into the online. And as I heard somebody say, shoulders back, boobs up, step with confidence, show up in all of your power and all of your authority. And I think here's the part that I need for you to hear loud and clear. Your authority isn't missing, it is often just misplaced, right? So you have results, you've got examples of projects perhaps that you've led, maybe teams that you have held together, initiatives that nobody else wanted to do that you put your hand up for and you rolled up your sleeves and got to work, right? And got results at the end of it, right? These problems that nobody wanted to touch, you did that, right? You've got authority from your qualifications, the courses that you worked on through the night with maybe a baby on your hip, right? You invested in your learning, your studies, and you acquired those qualifications, right? You earned it, you worked for it. This is all part of the authority story that you're building through the pivots, through the setbacks, through having to reinvent yourself. All of this, I believe, think of a cake, the recipe. These are all the ingredients that you put into your recipe for an amazing cake. All of my analogies often have to do with cakes and sweet things. I hope Carissa is not watching. Right? But all of this wisdom that you have, that you didn't just read from a book, no, you lived it. It's lived experience. It's what you have learn day to day, season to season. This is all part of your authority, right? And if I can just go into the fact as well that a lot of us black and brown women especially, we were always told to just keep your head down and get on with your work, right? Just don't draw attention to yourself. Just get on and do so that you can excel with the work, but you don't want to draw attention for the wrong reasons. So we've got all of that kind of cultural traditional programming that impacts how we show up online. It has an impact in how we present ourselves. So guys, if any of this is resonating, please do say it in the comments. And all of this is without anyone tagging you, right? You did all these amazing things. It's without anyone reposting or resharing what you did, but you did all this amazing work. It's just a different season now, right? Where all of those accolades, all of those transformations need to be spoken about, because the fact you've started a business and maybe your business is in a different area, it's in a different space, all of that doesn't evaporate. It doesn't disappear because you are doing, I want to say something new, and it may not necessarily be something new. It might be what you did in corporate, but you are now doing this for yourself. So that's the new arena. That's the new aspect to what it is that you're doing. So it's not bragging. It's not shouting. It's not trying to prove anything. But what it is evidence. It's receipts. And we need that for people to trust us, for people to know what we know. They're not going to automatically know, right? So it's the kind of trust building that isn't saying, look at me, but we are factually just sharing what we know and what we've been through and the results that we get for others. So let me give you an example. The women that I work with, right, I'll say to them, let's start to pull together a bank of results. And a lot of them will say, oh, I don't have any results yet. And then 5 minutes into the call, they'll casually drop, oh, yeah, so I led a team with 40 people, a team over in another country and delivered a multi-million-pound project. And I'm like, wait. How have you just glossed over that? That's important, right? Or they'll say something like, oh, I've not helped anyone. And then later they'll say, oh, I helped my cousin to improve her confidence. And then she went on to get a 6-figure role. All of this are the results and the receipts that you need to start talking about, right? These things didn't just happen. You made them happen. And they are things that you can leverage inside of your business. It doesn't matter if what you did for free, right? Maybe you did it for a friend or a relative. The skill set is the skill set. The expertise is the expertise. And you've been able to get a result. My red bush is getting cold, so I'm going to have another sip. Well, let me come back to the comments and see if anyone has said anything. No, you guys are quiet. I see someone has scanned the QR code. So this is the QR code for my community, the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. That will take you to the About page where you can get more information about it and about the Black Friday offer. I was going to speak to that a bit later, but I've seen someone has scanned it. So I thought I would mention it, right? So guys, what questions, what comments, what's coming up for you? I would love to hear. Today's anchor is about helping you to really reconnect to the receipts, right, that you already have, the learnings that you've already banked. How can you leverage those in how you show up with authority, with confidence, right? Not sitting in the back, just reposting and sharing everybody else's content. Meanwhile, nobody knows what you've achieved or what you've been able to acquire results wise. And it doesn't have to be in like a salesy or braggy or forceful way, just honest and grounded. I would say grown, right? In grown woman energy, that we speak and we share what we do and what we know. So I want to wrap up with my usual question that I like to drop in your lap as we wrap up the session. I would love you to ask yourself in a quiet moment today, ask yourself, what proof do you already have that you've potentially been overlooking? Right? Sit with that, write it down, start to gather your receipts. And for those of you who are like, receipts, does she want me to go through my purse? No. Receipts are like the evidence, the docket, the proof, right? You know, if you return something to the supermarket, they want your receipt. They want proof of purchase. What is the proof points that you have in terms of your authority and your credibility? Right, start to gather those receipts. Like, let's bring your authority out of the shadows. Let's dust them off from the shelf, and start to put them online, put them on LinkedIn, put them on Pinterest or Instagram, wherever it is that you hang out. Right. And if LinkedIn is a platform that you're leveraging, and I would encourage all business owners to have a presence on LinkedIn, it just makes sense. It's the business platform. So business owners absolutely should have a presence. Scan the QR code, check out the details for the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. Everything that I'm sharing in these anchors, these 10 anchors, fits into the pathway that I teach in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. Right. And the pathway is simply your profile, your content, your pipeline, and your clients. All of those four things, four simple steps that you can easily understand, we build out for how you leverage LinkedIn. So LinkedIn doesn't just sit as a profile that just sits on the internet, but actually helps to move people along the buyer's journey to actually raise their hands and decide to work with you. All right, friends, I'm going to wrap that up. I'm going to check the chat in a moment. I'm excited to see you in day 6, right? Where we're going to be talking all about community anchors. That's the order of the day for tomorrow. And why visibility isn't just about being seen, but it's really about being supported in the space that you are leveraging, right? Being supported so that you can be consistent, being supported so that you actually enjoy showing up where you have decided your signature platform is. So let me come back and see if there are any comments or questions. Hey, Leonora, good to see you. You said that is so true. Maybe societal expectations, yep, and upbringing keep us from shouting from the rooftops. Exactly that. Change of mindset is needed. And you know what? It's not because like friends, family, culture, tradition did not want to see us get my teeth in, did not want to see us excel and thrive, but it was more from like they in their minds were trying to protect you and keep you safe. It's almost like what our brain does, right? The amygdala, where it's like thinking, oh, there's risk here, that you getting visible is scary, let's not send that post, let's not post that, publish that email, let's just keep quiet because someone may challenge you, you don't know everything. So it was really from a place of safety, but it's okay now, we're okay, right? We can we can raise our hands and we can shout about our accolades and our achievements, because people need proof points. They need to know that you know what you're doing and have, done it previously. You've got results previously. Yeah, I love that. I love that share from you, Leonora. Yasmin said, I definitely need to take time to think about my receipts. You do. I often forget I was on a live and used an example, and afterwards remembered I'd helped someone with that already. Look at that. Yeah, do you know what? I would say create, like, you have a purse full of receipts, create a virtual purse filled with receipts. So as you help somebody, as you get a result from somebody, go and update your purse. Go and add a new result into your purse, a new receipt, sorry, into your purse. I think that's a good way, because then sometimes, right? Let me speak to that, because not just for the fact of using it to put onto the online space, but sometimes we have a wobble. We start to question, like, can I do this? Is this the right thing for me to be doing? Like, go back to your purse and look at those receipts, because they will give you like a new win to keep going. You're like, oh, I've done this already. I've like achieved this already. I've solved this already, right? And then you can move on to tackle the next things, because you've got a proof point that you can point to, and you can say, I'm not new to this. I've resolved something similar, and I can deal with this new challenge. So, guys, I will be back on tomorrow. Look out for the event on YouTube and on LinkedIn, speaking about the community anchor. Thank you so much for jumping on. I hope that you found this helpful. If you haven't watched the previous lives, go back, check them out. We spoke about your signature platforms, your story, your lead magnets. And I'm blanking for what day 4 was, but it's all in the playlist. Go and check it out. All right, guys, take care. Thank you so much for joining. I will see